Hi guys, it's Tamara. I'm back with another video this week. This is our final video, guys, for the month of March. We are ending our topic on trauma. Let me know what you guys thought about these series, and if you like this series, go ahead and post that in the comment section below. If you like these monthly series, which is what my channel is all about, let me know in the comment section below, because I will do this with various topics. I'm actually going to start a new series in April starting next Monday, and I think you're going to like that series as well. But if you really like this, let me know in the comment section below. I will take that information as data and I will design some more videos based on that. I know a couple of you have told me that you love these series, that we get to pull and pick things apart. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel, guys. For those who are subscribed, and I encourage the new people on this channel, those who are not subscribed, to go ahead and hit that subscribe button on the left side. That way you can stick around with us as we talk about mental health. And I'm an internationally certified trauma therapist, so we're going to talk a lot about trauma on this channel. And in all of the topics that we talk about, there's always an underlying theme of trauma in most of my videos. So I don't know if you guys have caught that. In this video today, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We're going to talk about self-care. We're going to talk about healing, and I also want to give you some information on when to identify that you are in crisis mode. All right, so the benefits for you in today's video is that you're going to learn a little bit about self-care. We're also going to talk about a crisis and what that looks like, and it's mainly a psychological and emotional crisis, and what I want you to look for when you are struggling, okay? Because if you're dealing with a trauma history, abuse history, you're going to have some symptoms that you're not going to be too fond of. So I'm going to give you some tools and tips just to wrap up our 4-week series on trauma. So I feel guilty talking about self-care because I honestly do not engage in self-care as much as I should. I really should take more time out for myself than I do. But when I do take that time out, I recognize that I'm way overdue for it, right? I'm sure you guys feel the same way, that, you're all about working, going to school, getting things done, meeting everybody's expectations of you. But do you ever pull back, right? Do you ever pull back from your fast-paced world just to take a break and rejuvenate? I really do think we become very conditioned to the idea that if we just keep running and running and running and we seem to be okay, that we're going to be okay. But we rarely look at the fact that, well, maybe I need to stop running for a little bit so that I can function more healthy and not be so irritable and edgy and dramatic and, angry and just infuriated with the world and my family and people who rub me the wrong way, right? I think we think that if we are functioning, that we are functioning at a good level, and that is not the truth of it. And you know that very well, I'm sure, that just because you're functioning doesn't mean you're functioning correctly. Just because the front wheel on your car is, flat, but it's still able to help you get around, doesn't mean that it's a functioning wheel or a tire. So that's a pretty interesting analogy I heard somebody give the other day, using the analogy of a car, right? You can have the tire on your car. It may be flat, but it still helps you get around. But again, that doesn't mean that it's functioning appropriately, right? So I want you to think about some ways that you can engage in self-care. I want to give you a couple ideas, okay? I think a way to kind of engage your senses, right? It's called self-care for a reason, because you are engaging your senses, right? The way to engage your senses would be to engage in something like art, right? Music, massage therapy, aromatherapy, going to go see a chiropractor, right? Getting massages throughout the week, doing yoga, doing aerobics class, doing something that engages your senses. Some other ideas might be like taking a hot shower, a hot bath every night, indulging your senses with bubble baths and shower gels, buying one of those body puffs, and kind of like doing a soapy lather. Using lotion throughout the day on your hands. I do that all the time. Kind of taking your time as you're eating and literally taste your food, pause to taste your food, not just inhale it like I do sometimes. right? Trying different and new foods to engage your senses, using aromatherapy, being able to use essential oils or some kind of fragrance in your home through plugins or your laundry. All of those things are important. They engage your senses, right? The whole purpose of engaging your senses is to kickstart your endorphins and different parts in your brain that respond to your environment, right? When you rub your arm, your nerves are communicating with your brain. And we talked a little bit about this in the video up here, how your brain can be affected by trauma. When you rub your arm, the reason you can feel that gentle feeling is because your brain is communicating with nerve cells. So when you take a hot bath, you take a hot shower, or you do things that are relaxing to yourself, you are sending signals to your brain that it is now time to relax. I'm no longer working. Now, you may feel like, well, I've tried lotion before, or I've tried massages, and I've tried a chiropractor. I don't want to do that. Well, here's the secret. When you either combine self-care or you do it over an extended period of time as a routine, it works better. You can't try something one time and be like, I don't like it, or try it 2 or 3 times and be like, nope, that doesn't work. It's not going to work that way, guys. Believe me. You're going to have to do this as a routine for a little bit of time. And again, combining treatment. So maybe every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you take a hot shower, but every Tuesday, Thursday, you try a new food. Or maybe you try a new food Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you go to the gym and exercise, right? So you have to combine things and you have to try it over an extended period of time. All right. So I have my notes here because I can't remember much. But let's go ahead and talk about recognizing that you're in an emotional crisis, okay? I think it's important to recognize when things are getting to be a bit much on you. I also think it's important to recognize when you need to put the brakes on, right? My mom is that kind of a person for me. She lets me know when I need to put the brakes on, when I need to pull over, when I need to stop. I'm not a workaholic, but I do a lot of work. I like learning. I like giving people the information that they need, that they can't afford or that they can't access elsewhere. And my mom's like, stop. I'm like, yes, ma'am, I'll stop. Right? So you need somebody that's going to check you too. So don't forget that. Let's go ahead and talk about the psychological and emotional crisis that you can get yourself into and recognizing that you're in it. All right. So I firmly believe that a psychological crisis first begins with your cognition. Okay. Your cognition, the way basically entails the way that you think, being able to remember things, being able to really delve into deep intellectual stimulation, being able to kind of wrestle with concepts, being able to look at the pros and the cons of things, being able to decide, right? Tapping into that prefrontal cortex and being able to make positive decisions, right? So the prefrontal cortex is behind the forehead. All of that, right? All of your cognition, the cortical regions of your brain, the cerebral cortex, which is, the top of the brain, the ability to think and process information, all of that is important. When you find that being reduced, you are in cognitive crisis, right? You are in an emotionally exhausted zone where it's going to be very hard for you to make decisions, consider things, weigh the pros and cons, look at things and explore things and flip things, and right. So when you find yourself struggling with that, you are exhausted. It's called a cognitive crisis. I call it a cognitive crisis. The next one is an emotional crisis. And what I mean by that is that you're very reactive. You can't pull back. You're impulsive. You make very poor decisions because, again, that cognitive crisis is probably what you're in. You're irritable. You're ready to snap and chop off people's heads. You have terrible, terrible road rage. You curse all the time. You're constantly at your wit's end, right? You're very much on the edge of the bridge, ready to jump. You are just completely emotionally out of control. That's an emotional crisis. When you are like that, your brain and your emotions are telling you to pull over. You're functioning, but you're not functioning at a high level, and that's a major concern. Okay. The next one is spiritual or existential discomfort. I coined the term existential discomfort a year ago when I wrote my second book on adolescent suicide. And one of the things that I have in chapter 3 is the concept of existential discomfort. And what that means is that life is perplexing you. You have a lot of unanswered questions. You have a lot of religious and spiritual unanswered questions. You don't believe life is fair. You don't believe you've been dealt a fair hand at all. And so therefore, what you do is you feel inadequate, you feel unloved, uncared for, confused, manipulated by life, and so then you give up, right? This might be the stage where you start to have suicidal thoughts, and you might start to cut, or you might start to feel hopeless and helpless and give up. So when you're in a spiritual or existential crisis, that is the sign that you need to pull over, all right? And the last crisis stage that I have is what's called a somatic stage or state. And I call it a somatic crisis. And that's when every bone of your body hurts, right? You have like all of these achy joints, right? All of these stiff joints. You have headaches and migraines all the time. You have an inability to cope with, your back problems. You might have like really fast beating heart all the time. You may have hot flashes. All of those things are warning signs. You have to take every last one of these things as warning signs that you are emotionally and psychologically and physically exhausted. These are all signs that your body's giving you. When your body releases the stress hormone cortisol, which is found it's found as a secretion of what's called the pituitary gland. I'll put a picture over here for you. When that stress hormone is being released in your body, in addition to a variety of other hormones, your body is sending signals to you that it needs attention. When you see those signals, you must pull over no matter the cost. I know you have a job. I know you have a family. I know you have responsibilities. I do too. But you cannot function at your best if you are overwhelmed. Thank you so much, guys, for being with me today in this video. I enjoyed this 4-week and month-long series on trauma with you. You guys were so awesome in all of your questions and statements and comments. I encourage you to keep it up. And if you have a suggestion on, something that you'd like me to focus on in April, let me know. I already have a couple of topics I want to talk about. I think you're going to really like them, but I'm always listening to what you have to say. So let me know if you have some ideas in the comment section below. I'm going to try to post some information on self-care for you. I think it might be helpful. But in the meantime, I wish you a wonderful Friday and weekend, and I will see you on Monday with a brand new series. All right, guys, bye-bye.